Hi, it's John, I'm back. So, gym training for cyclists to build muscle. Now, I know like 1% of all cyclists want to build muscle, but if you're part of that 1%, then good for you, and this video is for you. So, if you don't know how muscle building works, muscle building is basically your body adapting to situations of stress. So, example, you do a bench press. Your body doesn't know that you're doing a bench press. Your body thinks like you're fighting a hippo. So, it's do or die, you know? So you're on the last rep and you're like, argh! Your body thinks you're fighting a hippo. So yeah, then basically the muscle fibers. So here is a tissue. So imagine the muscle fibers go this way, right? Down the chest, example. It's this way. Then you do the bench press and you do like one rep to failure. Sorry, not one rep to failure, multiple reps to failure, and then the muscle gets like torn up. You know, there's small little micro tears. So once that happens, the body is like, oh shit, okay, so we gotta repair that. But in case the guy, the idiot, fights the hippo again, instead of repairing to 100%, we will repair to 101%. So the muscle becomes stronger. And that is where progressive overload comes in. So basically, you know the hippo you were fighting previously, so you're fighting the hippo and then your muscle gets torn up and then it becomes 1% stronger. The hippo also becomes 1% stronger. That's how progressive overload works. So example, previously you were benching 100 pounds, now you bench 101 pounds. Then the muscle gets torn up again and then it repairs itself, and then now you can bench 102 pounds. You get what I mean? That's how progressive overload works in the long run. Obviously, it's not like one day. It takes like weeks or months, or yeah, months if you're a professional. If you're amateur, like it may take like weeks or something. So what exercise to do in order to progressive overload for cyclists? And that is squats, or just any leg pressing movement. So you can do barbell squats, Smith machine squats, hex squats, leg press, single leg squat, whatever, anything works. Just do whatever you're comfortable with, and yeah. So these are called compound movements. So what are compound movements? Compound movements are exercises that engage two or more different joints to fully stimulate entire muscle groups and indeed different muscles. So basically just movements that use multiple muscles. So for example, you do the bench press, you use your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. Do note that compound movements have high risk of injury, so if you're going to do that, take it slow and steady and have someone to kind of guide you. Not really a coach, but for example, if you're in the gym, you can just ask someone to help you or something, guide you. If you're a cyclist, I wouldn't really recommend isolation exercises as your main exercise. For example, like leg extensions. So I'm not tall enough. Hang on. Leg extensions. So you're sitting on a chair and then you're extending your leg like that. That is a leg exercise. That is leg extensions, and those are isolation exercises. So yes, they do train your muscles. In this case, it's your quadriceps, or the front of your thighs, or quads. But isolation exercises, unlike compound movements, they don't really train your neuromuscular coordination. So example, you're sprinting on the bike, like, okay, this is your upper body, but your lower body, imagine I'm using my hands as my legs, you're kind of like stomping on the pedals. I know it's a circular movement, but I mean, you don't really like move your legs in a circle, you know, you're kind of just stomping on the pedals as high as you can. So it's kind of this movement, you see, like that. Now what exercise mimics that? A leg press or squat. It's like that, with your legs, like that. You see, it's the same for sprinting. It's just one leg at a time. So yeah, that's why I recommend compound movements instead of isolation exercises. Yeah. So next time you go out for a sprint against like your friends or Mark Cavendish or something, you know, you see them coming and you're like, bam! You snap as hard as you can. Your body and your muscles, they're like, oh, we've done this before, you know. Do leg press. It's the same movement, you know. So your body and your muscles know what to do. Versus you do an isolation exercise, which yes, it does train the muscle, it does make it stronger, but granted if you do it properly, but it doesn't give you the same muscle coordination as a compound movement does, which is why Isolation exercises should be reserved as a accessory work, you know, like you do the compound movements first, and then you do the isolation exercises second. Next up, number 2, deadlifts. Now, deadlifts I wouldn't really recommend because, well, first of all, if you've ever seen a deadlift, or if you've ever seen people do deadlifts, sometimes they do like this, and then they are like, "Whoa!" So it's not very good for the lower back. If you don't know how to do it properly, again, ask someone for help, or just watch YouTube videos or whatever. But yeah, deadlifts are one of the more, I'd say, dangerous exercises. So I recommend you do something like rack pulls. I personally do rack pulls as I have a lower back injury, but whatever. So rack pulls, deadlifts, whatever, they all train your glutes, which is your butt, your hamstrings, which is the back of your legs, and of course your lower back. Again, this is for sprinting, you know, you're trying to like stomp on the pedals as hard as you can, but it's also for comfort, because if your back muscles are weak, if you're on the ride, you know, with your super aggressive position, and you're like, oh, my back hurts, it's because your lower muscles aren't strong enough, they aren't developed enough. Granted, you're not in like a super stretched out position, then in that case, no amount of lower back muscles can save you. Also, doing deadlifts or rack pulls are actually quite useful, because, you know, out while riding, your pedal stroke, you know, it's like this. Majority of it is spent using your glutes and your quadriceps. Only the kind of like 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock position, you use your hamstrings. Maybe not 6 to 8, 6 to 7 o'clock position, you use your hamstrings. So your hamstrings most of the time are quite underdeveloped. And as you know, if you want a smooth pedal stroke versus pedaling in a box, you want the scraping effect. So, you know, you push down and then you scrape at the bottom. It's like scraping. Example, you have gum on your shoe and you want to scrape it off. That is what they call a smooth pedal stroke. So what muscles do you use to scrape? Your hamstrings. You also do accessory work like hamstring curls. There's the sitting one, the one where you sit up and then you just curl your legs, or there's the one where you're lying down and then you're curling your legs at the back. I personally use the sitting one because I have a back injury. Last but not least, any upper body movement. So, for example, bicep curls or tricep extensions or press or whatever. Yeah. Now you might be like, oh, I'm a climber. I don't need any upper body muscles. It just adds extra weight. Now, yes, true, but hear me out. Like, example, you're a climber, like Froome or something. When you're out of the saddle, what muscles do you use? Your chest, your shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, your forearms, maybe. But yeah, and if you're a sprinter, you know how the sprinting form works. So you're sprinting, your left leg pushes down, and your left arm pulls up. So it's kind of like this motion. So opposing directions. So if your upper body isn't strong enough, you can't quite sway the bike enough, if you know what I mean. Also, if you're a flat rider, like you like going really fast on the flat, you know what's the most aerodynamic position? The hands on the hoods and your elbows bent 90 degrees and your head tucked, like Matthew Van Der Poel. What muscles do you use for that movement? For that position? Mostly your triceps and your shoulders. Have you ever tried holding that position for like 5 minutes? What muscles hurt? Your triceps. And your legs, of course, but your triceps burn like crap if you have quite weak triceps. So yeah, train your upper body, regardless if you're a climber, you're a sprinter, you're a TT guy, or whatever. Train your upper body. There are also other exercises like lat pull downs. So there's this way, there is reverse grip or whatever grip you want to do, wide grip, narrow grip. They basically train your lat muscles, which is used to bring your arm back like that, which is used for sprinting. Because you know, sprinting, you're not just like, you're kind of, it's like a full body movement, you know. So yeah, you can also do shrugs. So you grab the dumbbells and then you do the barbell one, and it's like that trains your trapezius muscle, which is here, all the way down here, which is useful if you're in a aggressive TT position, like Matthew Van Der Poel, and you like kind of tuck your neck down, and then you look up. Because I mean, you have to look at the road, you can't just, you know, you have to look up, which uses your trap muscles. So yeah, and also calf raises. I can't really do this. I'll probably play a video later. But calf videos for sprinting. Oh, sorry, not calf videos. Calf raises for sprinting. And just a whole bunch of other exercises for other stuff. Do note that after a while of progressive overload, like a couple months or something, if you're doing progressive overload properly, you will get to a point where you just feel like dying. Because progressive overload, you're literally forcing your body to adapt, you know? Week after week, day after day, just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. It gets to a point where your body is like, no, and it needs a break. That is called CNS overload or CNS fatigue. CNS standing for central nervous system. Yeah, I personally just call it fatigue. Most of the time you can tell when it happens because it's very obvious. Personally for me, I will have headache, weakened immune system, and just straight up tired. Like I'll just wake up. No, I normally wake up at about 5 a.m. I'll just wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I need to sleep. And then I'm just eating my food and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. And I go to school and I'm like, and then I'm at the gym and then I take my pre-workout and then it has no effect. Like I'm just at the gym and I'm like, and then I can feel the stupid beta alanine making my skin tingle. But yeah, basically your body is just, it's done. You need a break. But yeah, that's basically just CNS overload. It typically happens after a long period of time. Personally, mine is like 7 to 8 weeks, but that's because I train like a mad dog. But depending on how hard you train and whatever, how much you eat, how much you sleep, whole bunch of other stuff. You have to experiment for yourself, you know. Like, you can't just randomly, oh, I am fatigued after 3 days of training, you know? You have to experiment yourself. But yeah. But anyways, that's it for today's video on building muscles for cyclists. If you have learned something, hit a like or subscribe or something. Share this video with your aunts, your dad, your mom, your sister, your brother, your kid, your son, your daughter, your dog, your cat, your rabbit, everyone. But anyways, I will see you guys next time. Good afternoon, good night everybody.